Hey, house guests. Welcome to today's Big Brother 22 updates and spoilers. Woo! What's going on? Our house guests of the day are Phil Donahue and Justin. Thank you both so much for the support. We could not do this without you, and we appreciate it so much. So thank you again. And if you guys want to be house guests of the day, check out our Patreon link in the info box below. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Sunday matinee. Woo! Oh, I appreciate you guys too. Thank you so much for being here. And to answer May's question, I don't wash my hair every single day, but I do wash it most days. And I know that's not great for my hair, but I just like, I like having fresh hair. I don't know. I know it's not good for me, but one day I'll regret it when I don't have hair anymore. Okay, so I want to thank all of our super chatters from yesterday because you guys are amazing. And we also could not do this without you. So we've got Greg Landry, Jefferson Tucker, Angela H, Sheena123, Takeem Ford. I could not read this yesterday. Adlib RUJ? I may have said that wrong. I'm so sorry, but thank you for the support. Allison Piper, Dave Dawes, Jody Cortez, and Julie Morris. Thank you all so much for the support. Oh my goodness, Perline is in Barbados. That's amazing. I love that. Oh my God, Holly's from Bolivia. I love hearing where you guys are all watching from. It's so cool that we have such like a diverse, spread out community. I love that. So before we get started, I also want to mention too, the latest episode of Big Brother Puppet Theater is up. So if you guys want to check that out after we're done here, highly recommend it. I think it's a lot of fun. Yeah, so let me know what you guys think. Okay, so let's get started. When we left off yesterday, the feeds were down for the Power Veto competition. And just a reminder, the host was Cody, and the players were Memphis, Davon, Kevin, Danny, Nicole, and Tyler. And I think it's worth mentioning that it sounds like Davon and Kevin both got house guest choice, and neither of them chose David. They chose Danny and Nicole. So Memphis told everybody playing in this competition about his plan. He is planning on backdooring David this week. And he also told Danny, Nicole, and Tyler to throw the competition so that he or one of the nominees would win. So then, you know, the committee, like other than Memphis, the committee does not want David out this week. So they're not down with this plan. And they're just finding out about it now because Memphis didn't tell anybody before the nomination ceremony what he was going to be doing. You know, after the player draw, that's the first time he told anybody that he wanted to backdoor David. So yeah, the committee is split on what they want this week. We know obviously Memphis wants David out. Danny and Nicole want Kevin out, and the guys and Christmas want Davon out. Ooh. So Tyler told Cody before the competition that if he wins, he's leaving the nominations the same, and Memphis can deal with it. So the feeds were down for a few hours, and when they returned, we found out it was Zingbot. So I guess Zingbot is going to be the BB legend moving into the neighbor's house, right? I don't remember them mentioning anything about the neighbor. So I don't know, maybe that is a different twist, but I feel like it's the same thing. So, yeah, I'm just excited for Zingbot to show up and roast these turds. Please, we've been waiting for it. So, this competition was the maze that I was referring to yesterday. Similar to a competition from season 20, which Tyler won, I believe. And guess what? He won this time too. So prepare for a clash because remember, Tyler said he's not planning on using that veto, and Memphis like really wants David out. And just some more details on this competition. I think it was like they had different cages throughout the maze, and the house guests had to find the animal that like belonged in each cage and bring it back to the cage. Animals don't belong in cages. Anyway, yeah, so after the feeds came back, Memphis was talking to Day and Kevin in the photo bedroom, and Memphis says, the others definitely didn't throw it like they said they would. It sounds like it was like Tyler, then Memphis, and then like 10 seconds behind Memphis was Danny, And then I don't know where everybody else placed. I think Kevin and Davon might have been the last two. But Memphis is telling them the plan is still the same. And Day is like, are you sure? And Memphis says, am I sure? He's a little pissed at first, but he says, I got to talk to Tyler first to make sure. But he says there's no reason for Tyler to want to keep David around. So he thinks he's still going to get what he wants. I don't think so. All right. Oh, I'm sorry. Tyler lost last time. Well, he won this time. Thank you, Irene, for that information. So after Memphis leaves the room, Day says to Kevin, bullshit, bullshit. I'm not kissing anyone's ass. I don't have it in me. She doesn't see Tyler using this POV. So Day was in the photo bedroom with Danny, and Day says, I'm pretty sure that Tyler's not going to use the power of veto. So Danny says, let's wait and see. And I'm paraphrasing here, but Danny basically says, if Memphis's plan is to take out David, then it'll happen. Nope. So Day says she just knew before the competition that Tyler was not going to throw it. She knew. And she feels like Tyler is going to want to protect David since he voted for Tyler to stay last week, which he didn't, but Davon is still under the impression that he did. So Danny says, well, if noms are the same on Thursday, I'm going to do everything I can to keep you here. She says, I've been fighting for you, and I'm not stopping now. And I do think that Danny will put in some effort to keep Davon. It's just a matter of like, how far is she going to push it? Because this could be very dangerous for her own game. People are not liking how close she is to Davon. So I don't know how hard she's really going to try before she realizes like, this is not going to happen. I'm just messing myself up here. So Memphis and Tyler were chatting in the lounge, and Memphis is like, so what's the plan? And Tyler doesn't really answer at first. So Memphis is like, yeah, so Danny and Nicole were definitely going for that win too. They told me to my face that they would throw it. And the way that Memphis is speaking here, it seems like just in this conversation that he's mad at Danny and Nicole for not throwing the competition, but like it's okay that Tyler did. Because he doesn't want to talk crap to Tyler. So Memphis asks again, like, what's the play? What are we doing this week? And Tyler says, I don't know. He suggests they talk to Christmas and Cody, see what they think. And Memphis is like, well, if we don't get rid of David, like, I should have just put David up on the block in the first place. Like, the point of this was to get rid of David. So Memphis seems pretty pissed. He says, at this juncture, if you guys don't want to get rid of David, then I'm going to look at that as why the F are you keeping David around? Like, why is this such an issue and you don't want to take David out? What's going on there? So Tyler, again, is suggesting, like, let's talk to the others. Let's see what they say. He says, David is sitting on an island right now. He's all alone. I mean, just look at the POV player picks. Kevin and Day both got House Kiss Choice, and neither of them picked David, right? So obviously there is a rift there. But Memphis is like, oh yeah, something is going down with Danny, Nicole, and Davon. Why would Danny not throw the competition? So he's pretty much listing here another reason why you would want to take out Davon, because Davon has better connections in the house. But Memphis is insisting that Danny's got to go. Yeah. Honestly, like, obviously I'm a Davon fan. I'm sure you guys can tell that from these spoilers and everything. But like, I feel like Davon is the play for that group this week, right? So Memphis says, we've been all working together this whole time. Everybody goes along with what the HOH wants usually. But like, now that I want David out, who has been targeting me since week 1, now suddenly there's a hiccup. He says, that's not cool. He sounded very like Countess Luann during this. Just be cool. Don't be all uncool. But he says, like, that's an effing problem that people are not wanting to do what I want to do. So Tyler's like, I'm not looking out for me. I'm looking out for you, man. Sure. And Memphis says, I'm trying to look out for the group of 6. Are you though? Because they all seem to want not David to go. Like they have differing opinions. But nobody besides Memphis in that group wants David to go this week. So Memphis says, I don't mind that you won the power veto. You won fair and square. Like, obviously, I wanted to win it, but you won. So he says, it does concern me that Danny almost beat me. He's really hung up on this. And I think part of it is because Memphis, like, really, really tried and, like, really exerted himself. And the fact that Danny almost beat him, she was only like 10 seconds behind him, that's like really freaking him out. Especially because Danny's like, I didn't throw it. Or I did throw it. She's saying she did throw it. So Tyler, again, is bringing up, it's pretty weird that Nicole and Danny were chosen to even play in this power veto competition. So he's pushing like, David should stay. He's alone. And he's also saying we should talk to the others. So Memphis is just insisting like, David's got to go. I want David out. And he says, again, I would have nominated him straight up if I knew that this would be an issue. Maybe you should talk to your alliance before you make moves like that. Right? So Tyler's like, you didn't tell us what you wanted. We could have mapped this out better. We could have told you we didn't want this before nominations. So Memphis is like, again, I didn't want everyone talking about it. People got some loose lips up in here. All right. So then, oh my gosh, thank you so much, Gelsey. You're so generous. Thank you so much. So then Memphis says, Danny obviously wants Davon to stay. So what happens if the veto is not used? Where do the votes lie? And Tyler says we would have the votes to get Davon out of here. We'd have me, Christmas, Cody, Enzo, and you only need 4 this week. So they have it. And Memphis is like, all right, well, if nominations stay the same, then Davon definitely goes. And Tyler is just further reiterating, like, I'm worried that Danny and Nicole are trying to keep Davon around to go after us. So we should keep David to go after them. I hate this season. Okay, so Cody and Memphis are in the HOH room. And Cody's like, I don't know what's going on between Danny and Nicole and Davon. They were running around talking before the competition. And Danny and Nicole seemed pissed when Tyler won. So they agree, Memphis and Cody agree they were pissed last week when Danny put Tyler up on the block instead of Davon. Why was she putting somebody up from the committee when there were still multiple other people available that she could have nominated outside of the committee? They were not happy about that. So Memphis is asking Cody, do we have the votes to get rid of Davon? Cody says, Hundo P, 100%. So then Christmas joins them. More talk about how they got to split up the girls. This girls' alliance that doesn't really include Christmas anymore. And Memphis is saying, I want to do this without blowing everything up. He still wants the committee to be intact here so that the next targets will be Kevin and David, right? Memphis does not want the committee to start targeting each other until it's down to just them and Enzo. So like at the final 7. So he says, if people start going to David and telling him that I was going to backdoor him this week, I'm just going to call bullshit. He says, I made a deal with you to keep you off the block. So like, don't believe that. All right. So Memphis, he just could not stop talking about how annoyed he was that the girls didn't throw the competition. And he says, if they wanted Davon to stay so badly, why didn't they just throw it? Because I told them that I wanted David to go. So like, why not just go along with my plan? Maybe because they knew that Tyler was not going to go along with the plan, and they know that Tyler wants Davon out, and they don't want Davon out. So that's why they didn't throw it. Also, I'm sure they would want to get some brownie points with Davon for actually being the one to use the veto on her. So then Christmas is asking, like, did you tell Tyler to throw the comp? And Memphis says, no, like I didn't tell Tyler to throw it, which like I think he did. I mean, he suggested it to Tyler, and he said like I would prefer for you to all throw it, but Tyler was kind of like, oh, I want to like kind of try for it. Okay, so Yeah. Cody chimes in, like, you don't have to tell Tyler to throw it, because, like, if he wins something, you could still tell him what you want him to do, and he'll, like, follow through. The gaslighting! Are you kidding me? The gaslighting. They are literally talking about Tyler not wanting to use the veto and to get rid of Davon. So clearly, Tyler is not going to do whatever you want if he wins the veto. So anyway, Memphis, again, still stuck on the girls, not throwing the competition, but he admits himself, like, I would never throw a comp if somebody told me to. Ah! He's got different rules for himself. So then Tyler comes in, and Memphis says, you know what? I'm not too worried about David at this point. Like, I'm not sweating it anymore. So Memphis says we should talk to Danny and Nicole, just see what they say. Not like we're actually going to do what they want, but like we have to make sure that they're heard so that we can keep the group together. But Memphis is now saying, yes, Davon should go if it's still Day and Kevin up on the block. So eventually, Memphis and Christmas talk alone, and Christmas says, I think Davon should go. I know a lot of this stuff is really repetitive, but that's where we at right now. So she says Davon has better social connections than Kevin does, which is true. But she says, like, it's your decision. And then Memphis is like, obviously, it's not my decision. He says, I wanted everyone to throw the effing veto, and they didn't. So Christmas says, you know, the girls are probably going to be curious why you're upset with them for not throwing it, but you're not upset with Tyler. And Memphis clarifies, I am upset with Tyler. He says, I already yelled at him. I wouldn't call it yelling. I don't think he yelled at Tyler, unless it happened like before the feeds came back. So Memphis says, it's fine. Like, I'm over it. It's whatever. And he says, if I was Tyler, like, I wouldn't throw shit either. Like, I get it. Again, the double standard. So Memphis asks, like, what is Tyler's angle? Why did he not want to throw it? He told me that he doesn't care who goes this week. So why won't he just like go along with what I want? So Christmas is like, it's the competitor in him. He's not made to throw competitions, just like me. Okay. So then Davon chats with Memphis in the HOH room, and Memphis is like, well, that didn't work. Like, that plan to get everyone to throw it didn't work. So Day asks what happened, and Memphis says, if I know. So Memphis is like, I'm pissed that all three of them, Tyler, Nicole, and Danny, did not throw it. They flipped. And Memphis says, wait, I just got to back up too. Like, I feel like this should be like really suspicious that Memphis would even assume that like all three of them would agree to throw the competition. Like, why would they do that unless they were working together? Right? I don't know. Maybe that's just me, but I don't know. So Memphis says Tyler doesn't know what he's going to do with the veto yet. Oh, yeah, he does. And he says Tyler has the power and the rest of them have the votes. So Memphis is saying, I don't want to lose you, Davon, or Kevin for my game. He says, I want David out still. He's going to talk to Tyler more, see what's up. But, okay. But Day says that Tyler thinks that she and Kevin voted him out last week because they did. So Day says this is the reality of the situation. Like, David came up with a plan to split the votes and make Danny get blood on her hands, which is true. But Davon says, I didn't go through with that. And Tyler needs to know that I played no part in that. Yes, you did. The sad thing is that, like, all these people are trying to lie about their votes, but everybody else knows how the votes shook out because they're all working together. So you can't like hide things like that right now, but she doesn't realize that. So Davon says Tyler's going to look like a fool if he thinks that David has his back. All right. Honestly, I don't think it's even that he feels like David has his back. I think it's just like Tyler wants Davon out. So Day chats with Tyler in the lounge, and Tyler makes a joke about how the tables have turned from last week because, you know, last time Tyler was up on the block and Davon won the veto. they had a similar conversation like this after the competition in the lounge. So Davon kind of like left along with him, but you could tell like she was not happy about it. So she played along and she said, okay, here's my pitch, just like Tyler did last week. So she says, number one, she says, I got a couple points to go through with you. So she says, number one, I approached you day one and I told you that I wanted to work with you. I never flip-flopped on you. I held on to that. I just gotta say, like, there's a whole lot of lies up in this conversation. They are both lying to each other hard. So, number two, Day says, last week when you were up on the block, I knew that Kevin had the votes to stay. She might have actually believed that. I don't know. So she says, I took him down so that a bigger target would go up and you would stay too. She said, I saved two of my friends. Number three, I voted to keep you in the house last week. Number four, I convinced Kevin to keep you last week. He knows the truth. He knows how the votes actually went down. So then number five, she says, you tried to sabotage my game. And Tyler's like, wait. I was trying to sabotage my own game. And Day's like, yeah, but you used me to do it. And she says, I haven't struck back at you or retaliated. She voted him out last week. Okay. So then Day says, Memphis told me his plan. He told me that he wants to backdoor David. And I know that you adore David, but I do want to go on record that he tried to get you out last week, which is true. He voted Tyler out. That is actually true. So Day says, like, I tried to diffuse it. I stepped away from it. I wasn't a part of that. And Day says, like, as long as she's in this game, she's going to be an ally to Tyler. And she says, I'd be really grateful if you use the power of veto on me. We would be even. I know that my time is coming at some point. I just hope it's not now. So Tyler says he's going to talk to Memphis more and see what's up. No, I'm pretty sure Tyler is like 90% set on not using the POV. Okay, so then Memphis checks in with Danny in the photo bedroom, and Memphis is like, what the F are we going to do now? No one through the competition. And again, he's talking about how he like almost died after because he gave it everything and he like fell on the floor and had to like breathe really hard. And production was like, do you need a medic? And he's like, no. But he's like, I really busted my ass and you were like 10 seconds behind me. So Danny is claiming that she threw it. I don't think so. But she says, I told you I would have used the veto if I won it. You know, so like, what's the issue here? But Memphis says it doesn't look like Tyler is going to use it. So now what? And Danny says, oh, really? Like, this is strike two against Tyler if he doesn't use it. Like, he's going against what you want. So she says if nominations stay the same, they should vote out Kevin, which is, everybody knew that she was going to say that because Danny has been trying to protect Davon this week. So Danny keeps saying she's going to be shocked if Tyler doesn't follow through and use the power of veto so that David can go up. So then, meanwhile, Cody is talking to Nicole in the key bedroom. And he tells her all about the conversation up in the HOH when everybody was saying that Davon's got to go now. So he advises Nicole, when you talk to Memphis, don't push that you want to keep Davon this week. Okay? People are not going to like be down with that. So don't say it. Like, if Danny's going to say that, fine, let her say it, but don't be the one to do it. So Nicole says Danny, she's not sure how close Danny is with Memphis. She's not sure what their relationship is like. But Nicole says, Danny told me that Memphis wants Tyler to be the first one out from the committee. And she's asking Cody, like, did she tell you that? And Cody says, yeah, but what she didn't tell you is that Memphis also told Danny that you, Nicole, would be the next to go after Tyler. Like, you and Tyler are at the bottom of the Slick Six group. Or not Slick Six. That's not them. You're at the bottom of the committee. And he says, Danny told me that, not Memphis. Like, I didn't hear that from Memphis. I heard it from Danny. Now, I'm not sure about this chain of information because I could have sworn I saw a conversation where Cody was saying that he was going to like say he got information from Danny but it was like actually from somebody else. I don't know. I may have just made that up in my head, but I just want to tell you guys, I'm not sure if he's like playing Nicole or what. So anyway, Cody says that Danny is trying to get Nicole to target Memphis, and she's trying to get Cody to target Christmas so that she won't have to do all this stuff. Okay, so then Cody spills about his final 3 deal with Memphis and Enzo. Oh, the wise guys. So Nicole seems unfazed. She's like, oh, that's good. Sounds great. She asks, should we tell Enzo about the committee? Because she says, you know that Danny likes to run around and be the first to tell people stuff, and then you look like a jerk for not doing it. So she's like, what if Danny tells Enzo about the committee, and then we're going to look bad? But guess what? Cody already told Enzo like a while ago. So, yeah, they're pissed that Danny already told Tyler about the Sly Five. That is their fake alliance with Davon that they set up after Bailey left. So it's Cody, Nicole, Danny, Enzo, and Day. Yeah, she already told Tyler about it, and they feel like she's trying to make them look bad by doing that. So Nicole's like, you know what? I'd vote Danny out at this point. I'm so mad. So Cody says, I wouldn't put Danny up on the block myself, but if she was up on the block, okay. So Nicole says, we need to keep Christmas around to go after Danny. And Cody says Tyler will do that too. So damn, Nicole's really like ditching Danny at this point. So then Tyler and Memphis chat again in the HOH room. Memphis is talking about the conversation he had with Danny, where Danny was claiming that she did throw it. And I wrote she's claiming she didn't. No, she's claiming that she did throw the competition, but Memphis is not buying it. So Memphis is now saying he wants to try and create a rift between Day and Davon. Day and Danny. There's too many DA names between Day and Danny. He wants to try and put the blame for Day going this week onto Danny. This is so stupid though, because he's gonna push with Davon. Like, why would Danny not throw the power veto competition when I told her that I wanted to win and backdoor David? Like, what was she doing there? This makes no sense, sir. Why would that make her responsible for Davon going? That's so stupid. But Danny already told Day before the competition that she was gonna like try and win it to save Davon. It's just stupid. So anyway, Memphis is saying to Tyler, I've already hedged my bet with David, and he reveals that he made a deal with him before the nominations and said, like, I won't put you up if you promise not to use the power veto if you win. So he says, I'm cool at this point with Davon going. Like, whatever, let's do it. So then Day and Kevin have a game chat in the bathroom area, and Day says, I feel like there's a rift right now in that group. Like, there's some disagreement about who should be going this week. So she says, I do think that Memphis wants David to go, and Tyler wants me to go. But she says, I think that Memphis is setting me up to get my jury vote. She says, I think he's like acting like he's going to fight harder for me to stay than he actually is. And that it's like Tyler's fault that the power veto is not getting used because Memphis is trying to get her jury vote. So Day says, it really seems like Tyler's enjoying this whole situation. He made that comment about like the tables being turned now. Day says she saw Christmas smirking at her. And Davon's like, I'm not going to kiss Tyler's ass. I'm not going to kiss any of these people's asses this week. So Day says Tyler is not going to use the veto, and she feels like she's going to get voted out. The only votes that she would potentially have would be Nicole and Danny, which is true. And she says, if I sense that, like, I'm definitely going, I'm going to tell them, don't even bother voting for me. Like, don't mess up your games. So, yeah. Christmas and Nicole are in the lounge, and they seem, out of anyone, we haven't even talked about the zings yet. They seem to be, out of anyone, the most upset about their zings, and they're kind of having, like, a pissing contest over, like, whose was worse and whose was harsher. So, Christmas's was about being a cold-hearted bitch. And I guess Big Brother compared her to, like, Christmas the holiday and said, like, She's cold, annoying, and stress-inducing. Oof. Nicole's was about her voice. And I think she said, like, people want to die when they hear her voice or, like, something like that. Ow. So, yeah, they were not happy with their zings. And Christmas was going on about how hers was, like, one of the only personal ones, blah, blah, blah. Attacking her character. It's a freaking fake robot. Get over it. Okay, so then they talk about this week's vote. I'm going to talk about more of the zings in a little bit. But they talk about this week's vote. And Nicole says she does not really want to cut Davon this week, but she feels like she has to. She says Day and Danny are getting too close, and she doesn't like it. Nicole says that she's scared that because Danny has such a big mouth, she's going to tell Davon how Nicole flipped her vote against Ian last week and really blew that tie situation that could have been. So she says that could really blow up my game, and I can't have that. So Nicole was also worried that she was like, I think that Danny went to Davon before the Power Veto competition and told her all about Memphis's plan to backdoor David. Because, like, why else would Day and Kevin be so okay with losing the Power Veto? Guess what? Memphis told Davon and Kevin his plan. Anyway, Christmas agrees. Day's got to go. She's thinking that Davon would put her up if she won HOH. I think there's a good chance. Yeah, for sure. All right. So after this conversation, Christmas goes and reports the combo back to Memphis. And at this point, Memphis is tired of hearing this shit. He's just like, yeah, whatever. Danny sucks. Okay, cool. So then some more zings. Let's go over them. We heard some of them through some of the conversations people were having last night. So I don't know the exact wording of these, but I just know like the basis of like what was being poked out here. So Danny's was about like being old, but she's not even the oldest house guest there. Kevin's was about being boring. Cody's was about being dumb. I guess Zingbot said he had an IQ of like 10. Tyler's was about being a liar. It was something along the lines of like anyone who says it's better to get the girl over the money is a liar. And I'm not sure what everyone else's zings were. I guess they were unbothered. So I'm missing Enzo, Memphis, Davon, and David. So if you guys know what their zings were or what they were about, like leave it in the comments because I would love to hear that. Okay. So then some other stuff from last night. Danny told Nicole that she's still going to try and get Tyler to use the veto so that David goes up. And she's saying, like, we should vote David out because we're pretty safe right now with Davon and Kevin. She figures if Kevin wins HOH, he would probably put up, like, Cody and Tyler, and they could just vote out Tyler. And she says if nominations do stay the same, she wants to try and convince people to vote out Kevin and keep Davon. Good luck. Okay. So then Day was spilling all her game information to Kevin last night so that he will be prepared if she goes this week. So she told him all about the overlapping alliances that she was a part of. So like the Connect, Slick 6, Sly 5, the Girls Alliance. She's telling Kevin all about it. And Kevin is basically like, I don't like this version of Big Brother. Like, I don't know how to play it. This is not the style that he's used to. So he's realizing, hearing all these alliances that Davon was in, like, wow, I really freaking suck at this game. So Day also is still convinced that David flipped on them with the vote last week and that he's working with the guys. Okay. So today, I think we can expect Kevin, Day, Danny, they're probably all going to chat with Tyler at some point about the power veto. Not likely that he's going to change his mind. I mean, you never know. There's still a whole day left until the ceremony, so anything could happen. But yeah, it's not looking likely that Tyler would use the power veto. We shall see. But I want to thank all of you guys so much for watching and for hanging out today. Hello. Somebody's got some huge ass hair today. Hi, baby. Show your head.
We'll see you tonight.
Yeah.
If it's still this high.
Yeah.
It's high as a kite.
Bowie, you're so happy. Oh, I just want to write down Shane. Oh, here comes Lulu. Here comes Louie. Okay. I want to thank all of our super chatters today. You guys are incredible, and we couldn't do it without you. So we've got, he said more.
He said,
petting.
Don't run over my feet.
I know. So Brant Phillips, thank you so much. We have Adley Bruges. Okay. Thank you for clearing that up. That's a cool name, Adley. I like that.
I like that name.
Yeah, Adley. Thank you so much. Gelsey Kane, you're so generous. Thank you so much.
Yay.
We really appreciate it. Amazing. Nancy Cowden, thank you so much. Be well. Thank you so much. And Shane Shaji, thank you so much. Yay!
Thank you.
Yay. Okay, so we hope you all have a wonderful Sunday. We'll be back tonight for our recap of the nominations episode.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Buckle
Nominations and the HOH competition, which probably took about 5 minutes, but will be stretched into like 20. And remember, if you didn't already check out the puppet show, check it out. It's a lot of fun. And if you did already watch it again. All right. We'll see you all next time. Thank you. And until then, much love.